2nd. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to get storms. So can't beat a Monday morning with some rainstorms, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I stepped outside this morning and it's just that like transition, just that feeling of summer's coming, right? Like I feel
Oh,
like we
yeah.
didn't really have I mean we had spring, it was just much cooler and now we're getting some heat and
Hmm.
I'm here for it.
Same. Yeah, same. Was outside yesterday, and it felt like summer. It felt like summer for sure, for sure.
I'm
Speaking of
ready.
summer is coming, Caitlin. The summer grilling season. I don't know. For me, the summer grilling season never really breaks. I'm on the grill if it's snowing or I can bear the cold. So for me, it never ends. But I know for some folks, they put the things away and then they'll get them back out about this time of the year. Starting to get nice. The porch, the patio furniture's coming back out. The umbrellas, all the things, and along with it is the grill. Let's talk summer grilling season, food safety. Of course, we got Memorial Day this weekend. Let's dive into it all. What do you have for us on this Monday?
Yeah, this is our yearly grilling segment that we look forward to. So yeah, as you said, we're bringing, I know for myself, this is the case for our household. We do put our equipment away for the season, and so then we've brought it out in the last couple of weeks, getting it cleaned up. So that's always my first reminder for folks is if it's been out in a shed or in your garage, definitely give it a thorough cleaning. Make sure you get all the dust bunnies off of it before you start cooking. And then, as we always talk about this time of year, it's going to be about food safety with the grill. So we always talk about 4 steps in food safety. So clean, separate, cook, and chill. And so cleaning is about washing hands, and so making sure that we're using soap and water for that. We're washing and rinsing off fruits and vegetables. I think I think everyone's trivia fact for the morning is going to be that we recommend fruits and vegetables be washed for that same amount of time. So we rinse our fruits and vegetables for 20 seconds, similar to how the recommendation for washing hands is also 20 seconds. So give them a good scrub with those fruits and vegetables. Make sure you're washing hands, especially as you're changing tasks. So if we're looking at, the holiday coming up this weekend, if you've got recipes where you're going to be making coleslaw and you're going to make potato salad and fruit salad, and then you've got meat going on the grill and buns that you're going to heat up, those are all separate tasks as you're working in your kitchen. And so making sure that you are washing hands between tasks, you're making sure that utensils are staying separated. So this jumps into our second piece about separation. So if you're cutting up the broths or you're cutting, I guess you probably aren't cutting up broths. If you're cutting up, well, maybe you're forming ground beef into
Mhm.
patties and you're, organizing pieces of chicken to go on the grill, that all that raw meat stays separated from the utensils, the cutting boards, even your ability to walk outside. Maybe you're prepping in an inside kitchen and you're walking outside. Are you touching door handles that you maybe touched, that your fingers had raw meat on those that touched a door handle? So just be very aware as you're walking into that space. And then cooking is always about grabbing a food thermometer, making sure that your meats are coming to their safe temperatures. So USDA has a variety of recommendations for different types of foods and those internal cooking temperatures. And then chilling is about those leftovers. I know especially during holiday functions, you've got friends and family around, and you're maybe nibbling on little bits of food here and there, and food sitting out for several hours. The recommendation is that at the 2 hour mark, when foods come off the heat, or out of the refrigerator, if you're going to put out a buffet, within that 2 hour mark, you're starting to pack things up and move them into cold storage again. So if you've
Mhm.
pulled that fruit salad out and it's sitting at room temperature, at that 2 hour mark, set a little timer on your phone and pop it back in the fridge. Same for any cooked meats. Bring those into cold storage if you want to save those leftovers. And if you're not planning to save any of it, if it's all going to go into the trash or into the compost, then you don't need to really worry about those time limits.
Very good. So keep those things in mind. And Caitlin, one thing that always comes to mind for me is cooking, making sure your food is cooked thoroughly. Those foodborne illnesses, food poisoning, and such. I tell you, that's not a good way to kick off your summer. I can speak from experience on that.
No, and we talk about in classes where we do home food safety as well as restaurant food safety that foods that sit out at room temperature, these are places where bacteria are just as happy as we are, right? We get those warm temperatures, it feels good on our skin. Same for the bacteria. They're going, this is the right temperature for me to grow, and I'm happy. I mean, I don't, it maybe intentionally make you, the human, sick, but that's kind of the side effect, unfortunately, if food is not treated well. So
Mhm.
agreed. Let's keep our food safety positive and let's keep our foodborne illnesses low.
Very good. So, Caitlin, as we talk for this morning, anything else as it relates to food preparation, food safety we need to keep in mind?
I'm not so much for food safety, but I am going to invite people to look at just trying something new this season. So if you've been on the fence, you've been thinking about trying something new, maybe not this, for the holiday for, friends and family, but have some experimentation in mind. I know for myself, we're trying to figure out how to grill a pizza. So that's going to be something that we're going to be trying out because we've never done that. So I encourage people to give it a try. Probably not as your, as I said, your final recipe to present to friends and family if it's your first time, but throughout the season, try some fun things. See what you haven't tried before, whether it's a vegetable on the grill you've never done before or some different types of meats. Try it out.
Very good. Yeah, try new things. Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension, my guest on the Zoom this morning. And Caitlin, as you talk about trying out new things, I don't mind sharing that I am hoping to purchase a smoker here in the next couple of weeks and try out smoking. I've done it before on like the charcoal grill, but I've never done it. I've never actually owned a pellet smoker before, so gonna give that a go at the old Casa in Clinton and see how it turns out. But one thing that comes to mind as it relates to actually grilling food, you talk about, I know in the past you've talked about zone cooking, keeping certain meats separated from each other, maybe clean off the grates between that and cooking, say, vegetables. I know grilling fruit is becoming very, very popular as well. How about just the actual grill itself and keeping things clean and tidy there?
Yeah, so a lot of food safety is in the preparation, but then as you just mentioned in the cooking. So trying to keep those, because if you're trying to do multiple meats, for example, on the same grill surface, chicken we cook to a higher temperature than we cook, say, a ground beef patty for a hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
And so making sure that the utensils and the thermometers are staying separated because we want to limit any cross contact. So any bacteria from that chicken, if you're turning the chicken with the same tongs as you're turning that beef patty, the bacteria that we need a higher temperature in the chicken to kill, we don't need that high temperature in the beef. And so, but we don't transfer those chicken bacteria to the beef, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping the tongs separate for each individual item is a great food safety idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then for, as you said, like meats or even fruits are getting very popular to grill. Part of that is doing either those first because those are typically very low, food safety. They're not going to have quite the same bacteria as our meats. So maybe cooking those first and keeping them warm under some foil. Or if you want to, again, do them on the same grill surface at the same time, keeping them separated in separate zones or sections,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about, again, those cooking surfaces. If you're using a skewer or some type of kebab stick, making sure that those are also, if you're having to turn those, what are you turning them with? So making sure that we're keeping everything separated. It's a great way to do those, to do it all at once. I know that's really, really great way to do your cooking, get it all done on the grill, but also think about, do you have some sections of either using your oven maybe inside your home or using maybe a cooler that you can kind of invert. So instead of keeping things cold, can use it to keep things warm just in the meantime while you're holding over foods that you're needing to cook maybe in batches on your grill. So lots of options for that. And then in terms of cleaning, yes, definitely cleaning in between because the flavors from a previous grill cook, if we don't clean those off, we don't scrape off the bits, those flavors can transfer over to the next batch cooking. Or even if you're cooking on the same grill the same day, you may notice that those flavors, maybe in the fruit, we get some of that bitter kind of meat, burnt charcoalness from maybe cooked meats. If you're doing then fruits or vegetables, those are not typically flavors we want mixing. And so having those separated or cleaning really well in between is great. Do be careful of some of the great brushes. There's been some concerns in the last couple of years that the pieces are breaking off and ending up in food, and people will unfortunately swallow those or get those, poking into their mouth or their throat. So do be very aware of the grill brushes that you're using as you're cleaning. Make sure you don't see anything that has broken off.
Mm-hmm.
for safety purposes. But you can also try, if the grill is still hot, you can, very carefully, gloved hand, heat protected hand, with maybe a cut onion or a cut lemon to try to kind of scrape off some of that surface debris without using the grill grate brush itself.
Yeah, yeah. Good advice. Good advice. And the onion one I have seen a little bit of on like Instagram videos and such. Very good method it seems there. I'm not a big onion person, but to clean the grill, might give it a try.
And
So
and as I just said, right, we're transferring flavors. So if the onion flavor is not something that you want on your grill grates, then probably not the best option for you. You might
Sure.
just need to do the grates and some classic, soap and water, spray it off.
Mhm.
But definitely rinse off, right? We don't want soapy flavor either.
Caitlin, we miss anything in that conversation today you want to put out there for us?
No, that was great. Yeah, just remembering those steps: clean, separate, cook, and chill.
Very good. Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. Got it right that time, Caitlin. And we'll take a break here. More to come with Caitlin on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now with the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. We start the day double-digit higher with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. July corn opening 472, up 16 and a quarter. September corn up 15, 478. And December corn 493 and three quarters, up 12 and three quarters. July beans up 27 and a half, 1204 and a half. August beans up 27, 1203 and a half. November new crop 1196 and three quarters, up 26. July Chicago wheat 663 and three quarters, up 28. July KC wheat is up 20, 708. July bean meal 339.10, up 480. And July bean oil 74.97, up $1.09. Energy market, July Brent crude oil down $1.44, 107.82. RFD Radio Network.
Spring into savings this May with a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Savings with a new car? Yes, with our fuel savings model like the Chevy Trax with 40 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Trailblazer, and Chevrolet Equinox with 33 miles per gallon highway. And don't forget about our EV options, the Chevrolet Bolt and Equinox. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. Caitlin, I want to start with this in this segment. June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Let's start here. What do we need to know? What do you have for us?
Yeah, it's coming up. I can't believe May is almost over. My goodness. So in honor of Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, something that Illinois Extension does offer is support around brain health. And so for us, what that's going to look like is an event coming up in later June, which I'll talk about. But I want just to look at what does brain health look like in terms of nutrition. So there are certain vitamins, minerals, and some other nutrients that support brain health. And so let's look at some of those. So we know that the brain is a lot of fat matter. It's got a lot of energy being produced. It's got to transmit a lot
Meteorology.
to other parts of the body. And so having key nutrients is important. So for example, brain cell function benefits from some of the B vitamins. And so B vitamin is a kind of an umbrella term. There's several. See support from a newer nutrient. This is not one that I remember learning about in school back in the day. So this is a new one on the radar of something called choline, which is a nutrient that is supported by messages through the brain, and it's primarily a big nutrient found in eggs and egg choline through that. Something like B12, we see some support repairing brain brain structures with vitamin D. So there's a variety of different things. Omega-3 fats, I think, is one that more people have heard about. So having types of fish or nuts and seeds to get some of those omega-3 fats. So there's a variety of different nutrients that you can incorporate. So adding in a lot of plant foods is going to support those antioxidants that are in those foods that will support just general brain health and body health. So fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, avocado, incorporating things like eggs, as well as fatty cuts of fish. So tuna and salmon are great choices to include each week, and even some of the additional fats. So things like olive oil is a great option to include. So your general nutrition is going to support your whole body, but we can also target specific brain nutrients if desired.
Very good, very good. So yeah, brain nutrition is one. At least I worry about keeping that brain healthy and those sorts of things. Heart and brain health, the two big ones. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Anything else on that, Caitlin, before we move along this morning?
So our brain health event that we've got coming up here at the end of June. So June the 25th over in Decatur at Central Christian Church, we're going to have an all-day session with 4 different speakers, myself included, talking about different aspects of brain health. So working with what does Alzheimer's and dementia look like, working with nutrition. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. We'll have a speaker talking about activities to support brain and cognition. So like, brain games, so to speak. And then we're going to finish the day with Tai Chi, which is supporting like fall prevention, but also really useful support for moving the body as you age, and that also supports the brain. So I invite people to check out our event called Use Your Noodle, and that event people can register for through our office at 217-877-6042 or at go.illinois.edu/DMP, and they can look for the Use Your Noodle event.
Very good. I like that. That's cool. Very good. Caitlin, let's wrap up with farmers market season is upon us, which means we'll probably start to see some of those roadside producers with their various produces, if you will. Let's talk about this. What do we need to know with some of these things?
Yeah, so I mean, as you said, we're getting into farmers market season, but I'm seeing more roadside stands. So people that are just growing in their own gardens and have excess, and they're putting that out on their curbs, essentially, and offering either a little drop box for putting cash in, or they may have something more, sophisticated, maybe with a card. But I invite people to, utilize those. You may not be able to talk to them as often as you would through farmers market per se, but you can still utilize those roadside stands. Or if you have questions about how they're growing practices, you can certainly try to contact them or reach out. But this is a great way to support your local economy by going to these farmers markets. You're also getting really strong nutritional produce out of this. So the strawberries that we're seeing right now coming out of gardens and out of growers, we're getting, top-notch vitamin C compared to, say, strawberries coming in maybe from the West Coast, California, where they've been on trucks for a couple of days. They're going to sit in the grocery store shelves for a couple more days. They may sit in your refrigerator at home for a couple more days, and those nutrients will start to decrease over time. And so having local produce is going to just really maximize the nutrients that you're able to get, supporting as I said, your local economy, but also getting just, I don't know, the quality. Like, I don't know, you can't beat a good Illinois tomato in August. Like, there's just nothing like it. So as you're going to those farmers markets, go early, just because you're going to be competing against other shoppers. And then generally bring cash, especially the first time you're going. You may not know if they're accepting cards or other payment options. And then take a walk through all the vendors first, just to kind of see who has what, and helping you decide from your shopping list what do you want to prioritize for your time together. And then don't forget to think about, you can certainly preserve. So you can look at canning, freezing, drying, or other methods of preserving that produce beyond just buying it fresh. And so Extension provides a lot of resources on canning, so you can always check out our food preservation pages at extension.illinois.edu www.food-preservation to check those out.
Very good. I do know cards, like your debit cards, being accepted at farmers markets is growing a lot. I know the USDA did kind of an initiative to increase accessibility to those, particularly for the SNAP benefits and those sorts of things. But so good advice as always. Caitlin, I look at the clock. I know we could talk for probably another 5 or 10 minutes about some of these things. Unfortunately, I do need to let you go. You threw out the website for food preservation. What's the website for just your blogs, general information through extension? Where do they find it?
Sure. Come locally, so as for our local events in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt County at go.illinois.edu/DMP for DeWitt, Macon, Piatt. And then you can always come visit us in our offices in Clinton, Decatur, and Monticello.
Caitlin, always good to see you. Happy Memorial Day. We'll catch up in June.
Same to you. Thank you.
Sure. Caitlin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties on the Zoom with us. Network news on the way.
WHOW.